Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation, trying to finalize what is sensorality. So a good thing to start off with is like when you go into math class and someone says, we're going to derive the fundamental theorem of calculus, or we're going to derive the sphere packing density, or we're going to derive the shell theorem, right? And then they say, let this be this, or let this do this, right? You start with empirical evidence. Nothing is touching, everything is connected. And so that's all we're doing. It's just a mathematical derivation that includes a lot more data than you've ever seen before. But continuing on, looking for the stabilizing theorem. Conceptualization is consistent. What is intuition? Right? When I think of a baseball, a basketball, a book, a table, it's all of the, if you speak English, when I say those words, the same image that comes into my head, the function is what comes to your head. It's the same for everybody. I mean, that's why you can write books. Right? If you read, like we're reading Behind the Beautiful Forevers in book club, right? If we're reading a fiction book and they're creating an image, you couldn't do that if language was not consistent. And so then what is intuition, right? You exist, you experience the world, that experience gives you some sort of intuition, right? There are no guesses, nothing is truly random, so all of your guessing is educated guessing. But intuition is, I would say, more to like the analytical aspect. Your experience builds your intuition and just some sort of manifestation of efficiency. Sensorality is intuitive. Intuitive incentive. Completeness is closed. Description describes. Once again, we have that absorb, absorbing, absorption. Describe, describing, description. So again, that B and that P. Sensorality is descriptionality. Syllability, liability. Lying exists, inconsistency doesn't. So again, can you lie? Can I say, I'm not sitting next to a computer? That is a lie. It is not true. But were the words that I used to describe that inconsistent? No. And so to form a lie, you have to just directly, right, your intuition, your experience, you have to know something and then say something that isn't true, but you can't break the consistency of language. What is an object to an adjective, right? Adjective, objective. Very clear linguistically. And then if you have somebody that's an abject, failure. Object, abject. Abject is like totally. Again, just looking for the stabilizing theorem. But what's an object to an adjective? Again, you can't have an adjective without an object, right? Adjective, objective. Specificity is particularity. The opposite of particularity is indifference, right? If you're particular about something, if you're anal about something, you're specific. You want it exactly the way you want it, right? If you don't care, you're indifferent. You're either particular or you're indifferent. Our visiting scholar once again, because do I have a place to do work in the United States of America where the only thing you hear about is how you're supposed to work hard and contribute to your environment, and then there's absolutely no fucking laws, there's no morality, there's no decency, there's no character, there's no integrity, there's just a bunch of people clamoring over each other to get to the next day. And that's why our society fucking sucks. But we don't have a society. Like, there is no society. If you are privileged enough to have a job, to have income, to have a family, that is because you are part of the privileged group. I do not have constitutional rights, and all I want to do is work. Indifference does not care. Sensorality is indifferent, right? Speciality differentiates. Sensorality is indifferent. Speciality is different. Sensorality is indifferent. Speciality is different. Indifference, deference, right? Deference is respect. Sensorality is deferentiality. Deference respects, irrespective is indifferent, right? With respect to, we're going to take the derivative of x with respect to y, in relation to. But if it doesn't have a relation to something, it's indifferent, it's not related to it. Verbs are actions, nouns are objects. An object is a thing. All objects are things, not all things are objects, right? Emotions, love, happiness, friendship, right? Those are nouns. Is that physically located somewhere? No. Objectality is material. What is the relationship of motion and morality? Motion, emotion. Morality, immorality. Sensorality is immorality. What's immorality? It's an intermediary step. Sensorality is femorality, right? Your femur, femoral. Right? When you spell that out, you're going to get immorality, and you put an F on it, you get femorality. Like your femur, your bone, your femoral artery. Sensorality is femorality. What is the relationship of dust and dirt? From dust we were made, into dust we shall return. It is what it is. I am, therefore I think, therefore I am. Nope, you are, therefore you can think. And these are all structure of every sentence you've ever encountered is, it is what it is, with just more specificity. So dust to dirt, again, it's just some intuition that strikes me. But what's the relationship? Integration is immersion. Immersion is exposure. Exposure integrates. Exposure subjugates. Subjugation controls. Does control really exist? People want power, right? Influence, complete influence is control. You grow up, you're around your parents, oh, maybe they know what they're doing, or doing this, doing that. You grow up, they don't know that much, right? And you look out into society, it's like, who really knows all that much? It's like, the person doesn't really exist. And so, do people really control one another? No. Right? You have influence, you certainly have influence, like a government's more influential than a given individual. But does control exist? No. Control is complete influence. Influence is influential. Influence directs. Direction guides. Direction is instruction. Sensorality is the difference between input and output. We have our complete generalized bounds, a minimum and a maximum. And sensorality is the difference between input and output. Now we have another form of sensorality found out in the wild, right? If I'm censoring something, I'm sorting something. If I'm going on a vacation, I go to a resort, right? But it's resort. Sensorality resorts. And so now in that context, if I resort to something, I go back to, I rely upon, I'm dependent upon. Sensorality is resortality. A resort is a facility. So it's a good place to end. Another natural form of sensorality out in the wild, a resort. So I continue on. Again, my constitutional rights are violated. I live under profound and extensive stress. I am the victim of crime, every major crime besides literally being murdered, because I'm clearly sitting here. But besides that, my entire life has been ruined. It continues to be ruined. There's nothing I can say. There's nowhere I can go, and there's no one I can call. Somebody at some point in time either has to, again, waste my entire life or make the choice to tell the truth. It's that simple. But it's never going to happen. So I continue to document evidence, continue to produce work. All of it is criminal. All of it is illegal at the highest level. Simply no one cares. There are no laws. There is no society. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.